can see your McDonald's there, yes, you know.
Oh, damn it.
If you want it there. Now we can finally see who is the healthy one of us.
So basically, it is like a live stream.
Yes.
Same setup, same mood.
Exactly. It's even the same theme song too.
Yeah.
Hi everyone and welcome to the world premiere of the first 外国人介绍台湾 podcast. At least we hope this will be a podcast. Right now when I'm recording this, I actually have no idea how to upload this audio for a podcast, but hopefully I figured this out, so you have a link down in the description so you can actually go and subscribe to our newly started podcast as well. And the whole purpose is just to have a casual sit down talking about what has happened in Taiwan lately, talking about the recent Taiwan news, or just having an interesting conversation with one of the other foreigners here in Taiwan. Sadly, we couldn't find anyone, but we still have R.O.C here joining us on link from Taichung.
Bottom of the barrel.
It's like Alan is busy with his walks. We have to call R.O.C.
Yeah.
Have you guys had a podcast before? I don't know. Should there be a difference to like podcasts and YouTube video podcast? I don't know. Like if there is a difference. I never listened to podcasts.
Yeah, I mean that's the point of podcasts, right? It's like long-form discussions without having to edit anything.
Just a full disclaimer: if this turns out to be a total chaos, total fiasco, then we should all know that this was actually R.O.C's idea, that we should start a podcast to begin with. That's why he is the first guest here. So, if this is a total failure, we're gonna blame this on R.O.C. Right now, as we are recording this, we are hopefully, knock on wood, towards the end of this semi-lockdown here in Taiwan. We've had 2.5 months of lockdown so far, I think.
And now it's 6 days from, hopefully, the opening up of the country.
Yes. How's everything down in Taichung, R.O.C?
We all have to stay inside because of you.
Yeah, it must be annoying to have so many restrictions for like 0 or 1 case per week, per day.
Yeah, exactly. It's like
I actually have not been paying attention. I don't know, like in terms of Taipei versus the rest of Taiwan. I just see like the national numbers, and I assume it's all in Taichung.
If it's like 20 cases, it's like 7 and 8 for Taipei and New Taipei, and then maybe 1, 1, 1, 1.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And it's just because someone came from Taipei.
This guy, he had to go away from Taipei. Huh?
Yeah.
I see. I thought maybe we should just do an explainer. If somehow someone miraculously finds this podcast without finding this YouTube video, maybe we should just have a quick introduction on who we have here. So in this studio we are recording from right now, we can just pretend saying we're in an actual studio somewhere in like an actual recording session if people are not watching the video here.
Let's pretend.
We have Yuan.
Hello.
Who is Yuan?
Yuan is a French YouTuber.
Okay, next.
Living in Taiwan for 9 years, and sometimes software engineer.
Sometimes software engineer. Thursdays between 2 and 3 p.m. And then on link, as they call it, we have R.O.C down from Taichung calling up here to the COVID Taipei. Who's R.O.C?
R.O.C is a YouTuber that has no idea what he's doing.
Like all the other YouTubers.
Yeah, pretty much.
Basically, this podcast series moving forward will be just casual discussion talking about what has happened in Taiwan, basically. I myself I came across a very interesting article about a woman called Jasmine from Germany. She has not been able to actually come in here to Taiwan because of the border restrictions. My parents cannot come. They're fully vaccinated. They cannot come here to Taiwan. So in Europe, we have this EU digital COVID certification, which is basically like the COVID passport, so you can travel freely. And I saw that Canada is now actually also planning on opening up for fully vaccinated Americans.
I've got no idea what the situation's like in Canada. I feel like
I heard it's very strict over there.
Is it?
Okay, you can do France later. I do Canada first.
Yeah.
No, but from what I heard, there's a lot of rules that people feel don't make much sense. For example, you cannot go out and play tennis due to the risk of getting COVID there, and like tennis is probably one of the safest thing you can do with one other person, you know?
Yeah, I highly doubt very many Canadians are bitching and moaning about not being able to play tennis because we don't really play. I mean, I'm sure some tennis enthusiasts might, but...
I mean, it's just how to show how extreme measures are. Like I know skate parks are closed and stuff like this, where people feel like we can do nothing, and you still don't even let us do those extremely simple stuff.
I don't want to call it lazy, but it seems like they just did this sweeping rule, like close all these things down just to be safe, because we don't really have time to go into each individual scenario and each little individual situation and make laws for all these things. Like, we'll just shut everything down and eventually it'll go back to normal.
Yeah.
I don't know though, because I feel like they're opening things back up now, just even if things aren't better. Like, I feel like people are just so fed up with COVID. They're like, I don't care, I'll just get COVID.
It's kind of giving up.
But how is it for you now? Like, could you go back to Canada, no problem, without quarantine? Or how is that situation?
I have no idea. I should probably have researched this before coming on a podcast.
Didn't you get my research questions before this podcast, Prozzy?
Can I go to Canada? Google here says.
Okay, if you want, I can start for France.
Yes.
So for France now, and the whole Europe is the same. You have this, how do you call this, vaccine passport?
Yeah.
And
the EU digital COVID certificate, if we're going to use the proper name.
Okay, that thing. So if you had a vaccine that is approved by the European Union, and you had it in France or in Europe, you can come and go as you want. And starting beginning of August, they will also have new measures on going in restaurants, cinemas, like bars, any kind of entertainment place. You need to have this vaccination passport if you want to get in. Otherwise, you need to have a PCR test of less than 24 hours, which is very difficult, like annoying to make.
Less than 20? Doesn't it take like 24 hours to get like the result?
I think you can get faster if you pay more, but it's like 30 to 40 euros, I think. So it's like if every time you want to go for
breakfast,
yeah,
and like
exactly.
Wow.
So they are like tightening up a lot. And also regarding people outside Europe, it's a problem now because they don't recognize people who has a vaccine made outside Europe. Even if it's the same vaccine. Yeah, even if it's like all the ones we know, like Pfizer, AstraZeneca, Moderna, those ones, they will not be accepted. So right now you're screwed because
and AstraZeneca is even like European.
Yeah.
So it's like a European vaccine is being exported to Asia and then still not recognized in Europe.
Yeah, it's more like they maybe don't recognize or trust the organization that did the vaccine to you. You could maybe have...
Or like the records, I guess.
Yeah, you could have bought a fake certificate maybe. Yeah, if I make the vaccine in Taiwan, I go back to France, I can still not go to restaurants or like I even take the train. You need a PCR test to take the train. So it would be extremely annoying for me to go back now and have to do all those stuff like every day.
Wow, okay. And now it looks like Prozzy is done with his research here, so we can actually find out how it looks like in Canada as well.
Well, apparently I can, as a Canadian, I can go back if I meet quarantine requirements. I don't know. I think that Taiwan is more strict because they've got something to prove. Like they can't mess it up now, you know, like after doing so well and like everyone's, oh, Taiwan. It's like if they drop the ball now, it's just like, oh man. Or they don't want to get blamed for adding these specific restrictions. So like, okay, if you're vaccinated with these vaccines, then you can come in. But then if something happens, I guess no one wants to be like, oh, well, see, because you let these people in, now there's a whole thing. Like no one wants to be the scapegoat. Like no one wants to be the person to put forth this rule.
Maybe they are taking things one step at a time, and now it's only 20% of people vaccinated in Taiwan. They don't really care that people abroad are more vaccinated. They want to wait that people in Taiwan are at least like 50-60% for one dose, and they will start talking about those new rules.
I think you're right. Like maybe it's just too early to letting vaccinated people in. Like, because I mean, that German girl that you're talking about, it's like, just wait. Just wait a minute. Let us get this stuff together, and then you can come. Like, is she in a hurry? You know,
she applied in 2019 to start in the fall 2020 semester.
Oh,
so but it would have been fine. Oh no,
I mean, it was fine when she applied, obviously, but then she was going to go like 1 year later. So she was supposed to wait 1 year and then come. Then she didn't. So it's 1 year delayed. If it was up to you, then what kind of like milestone would you set? Like now it's fine. Now we're gonna put it back to normal.
Until that German girl found another university just to fight her, then I would open up the borders.
So evil.
Okay.
I would say end of the month, 50% first dose. That's when we decide on the all the rules about traveling, and maybe 1 month after that. So let's say September-ish.
Well, hopefully, on behalf of my mom, I hope that you're right. My mom usually comes here in late September, October. So
Perfect.
let's see if she can come back here then. Yeah, and we talked about this as well. I don't know if you know about this, Prosi, but when you come into Taiwan, right, like everyone has to go in like 2 weeks quarantine. Even if you're the same family traveling together, you have to be in separate quarantine rooms.
And you have to pay for those rooms, right?
Yes, I would assume so. Yeah, kids under 18 can stay with people with their parents.
One parent.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's about money, but it's about they want people to
Making
be
sense.
just like in real quarantine, not like a family quarantine.
I feel like if let's say that the dad would have actually gotten COVID, like it's like 93% chance that his entire family has it already. So
Except if he gets it in quarantine.
yes, but then
Which
we
is
have
not supposed to happen.
then we have more problem than families not spending time together.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to check with you guys, like speaking about traveling now. When would you say it's 100% safe for you personally to go travel? As soon as you get your vaccines, will you be ready to go out, or what would you be waiting for before you can start traveling again?
I feel in the next 1.5 years, it will not be safe to travel, but you...
Very pessimistic.
Always. Very dark. No, but I think there will always be a risk, new variants, new outbreaks everywhere. And for me personally, I will go back to France as soon as I can. I believe after
what's the definition by can though? I mean, you can.
Yeah, I would probably go for Christmas. I always, when I have the 2 shots, and also when there are better rules about quarantine when going back in Taiwan.
What about you, Prosi?
Like right now, I think it's fun. I don't know.
Not even without 0 shots of vaccine.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's better if you're vaccinated, but I don't know. I think like, especially people in the West, like I said earlier, are so fed up with COVID, because when it first happened, everyone was like freaking out. Like the kill rate was super high or something. Like those were the first reports were like, it's super deadly. And then, so people went into lockdown, and after a few months of that, everyone just started going crazy. And then like, I think more and more people started realizing like, you always hear about these people like, oh, it's just the flu. It was like that side of the argument. So like, I don't know what it actually is, but I don't think it's as deadly as so many people make it out to be. I don't know, but I honestly don't think it's that bad. Like, obviously if you're older, if you have pre-existing health conditions, then it can suck. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Soon.
Is there anything else you have noticed, like the recent couple of months here during this lockdown? Is there any like specific COVID restrictions that you feel like this was kind of unnecessary, or this doesn't really make any sense? Yeah, I know. Let's just wait. Let's get with Prosi first. I know that the list goes on and on this side of the table. How is it down in Taichung?
For me, it's been fine. Like I don't even go out that much, really, so it hasn't really affected me that much. The only thing that's like slightly annoying is like I sometimes like to run, and I find that because
I think that is very annoying as well, running just in general.
Yeah,
100% agree.
I feel like if I'm running around at nighttime and there's no one around, I feel like I'm going to take my mask off. But then I know as soon as I do, a cop's going to come right around the corner, like out of nowhere in the middle of the night.
I'm actually one of those people. I take daily walks during my lunch break in the middle of the worst heat. But I just walk, so it's like kind of fine. I walk along the riverside, and literally every single day for like 3 weeks, there have been like cops, back and forth to make sure that everyone is wearing their masks. It bothers me. I'm going to come to this in a second. Like the mask for me is like the absolute worst. But I just want to say, was there anything else you wanted to say, Prosi, before we start complaining up here in Taipei where all the COVID cases are?
No, go ahead, because I feel like in Taichung it's been not as bad as Taipei.
I think just...
You want to go ahead?
Yeah, like just everything I'm going to say now, I understand very well that the rules are very general. Just like you said for Canada earlier, they don't want to look at all the tiny like rules in detail. They just make some big general rules. So it's much easier to have a national level 3 alert everywhere, even though, like so many places have had 0 cases or like once in a while. And for them, it must be super annoying. For example, I love to go to the beach. I love like snorkeling, and I've been snorkeling or like swimming by myself I'm a great swimmer, by the way.
I'm starting to laugh. I have heard this like 3 weeks. This is like the 30th time I hear this, but...
Or you could be like snorkeling with a mask on. Kind of
Yeah. Where should the mask go? Either on the mouth or on top of the scuba?
Exactly. Yeah, you have to filter up on the top of the snorkel.
And in comparison, you have stuff like you can go to the cinema. Of course, going swimming at the beach is so safe. So
But I think that, like, to the defense, I don't think that the Taiwanese government would ever recommend anyone to go to the beach alone.
yes.
That I think that's like number one.
But for me, I feel like some rules might be more relevant if there was a specific number of people allowed to do certain things. You should be able to eat outside or drink outside, maybe, like do those things outside as long as it's the same household and there is nobody around for like, I don't know, 20 meters. You go in the middle of the forest, there's nobody, you should be able to drink water, you know?
Did you read about the guy, like, was it a couple or a family? They were like inside the car.
Right.
And then they were like, they took off their mask. So the same household, I think, or a couple at least, inside the car. They took off their mask to eat inside the car, and they still got fined. But after that, because that hit the news and it kind of like blew up, I think they actually made adjustments. So if you are within the same household,
right,
you can actually eat inside a car now. But
weren't they like in an IKEA parking lot or something? Like
most likely, the IKEA food is delicious.
Yeah.
That's
Does Amazon still do free shipping? I know we're getting off topic, but because if they're shipping, if you're in Taiwan, there's really no reason to be using Amazon.
Right.
No, only for a few things that just hasn't arrived here yet, I guess.
Yeah.
So back on topic, if you don't mind.
It's a podcast. You talk about whatever you want. People are listening when they're like on their walk or whatever, you know?
Yeah, fun fact. Apparently, I did some, believe it or not, some research before this. And the average Taiwan podcast episode is 20 minutes, whereas the average American one is close to 40 minutes.
Good to know.
Which most likely have to do with the daily commute length.
Oh, I thought it was because like I've only recently got into podcasts like the other day, and I opened up like podcasts on my iPhone. All of them are like English lessons.
Oh, really?
Like they're all the ones on the homepage. They're all like, oh, learn English with this person. So I wonder if that's why they're mostly 20 minutes.
There's a new podcast name on this then. It's Learn English with Foreigners in Taiwan. That's
Could work. Just to rebound on what I complained earlier, there's those rules I don't like, and I think they are not logic. But if you think about it, the whole purpose is just to encourage people to stay home. That's why it's like so many restrictions. It's not that going to the beach is dangerous. It's just if everybody was going to the beach on the same day, on a Sunday, beautiful Sunday, of course there would be way too many people and it might be dangerous. So after I understand that, I'm like, okay, it doesn't matter. I'm just gonna support all those rules and stay home.
I'm curious to know, Prosi, which team. We have two very, very different opinions about this. For myself, I honestly don't really mind that everything is closed outside, because I still just like want to go out and take a walk or whatever, but I hate wearing a mask. Yuan, on the other hand, he does not mind the mask at all, but he wants most things to be open, the beach, basically. And I just like, would be more important for you, to be able to actually go out without a mask, or everything will be open, but you have to wear a mask all the time outside?
I would prefer everything to be open, but you have to wear a mask. Because
Team Yuan, yeah.
I can't force you to be right, Prosi.
I mean, listen, like masks are annoying. The breathing thing's not an issue unless I'm running, then it's an issue. But I find it is kind of annoying because I have a beard, right?
You don't have a beard. This is a beard.
Yeah, right. But I mean, like I always have facial hair. Like I'm almost never clean shaven because it'll just come back in like 2 seconds. I'm such a man. But when you talk with a mask on, like I don't know if it happens with you, Lucas, but it like pulls your mask down like pretty quickly. Like I can get my mask all the way up just by talking.
Yeah,
the chin effect. And I'm walking around.
I think like my nose is like helping me with that.
Locks it in.
Yeah, like I never have any problem with that. It's a very annoying trying to put on the scooter helmet, still having to wear a mask.
Talking about scooter, I think it was very funny that we were in Taichung on the very first day of level 3 alert.
Right.
That's right.
Back then, we didn't believe that we were expected to wear a mask under the helmet going back to Taipei. We were like, no.
Oh no, yeah, it was so stupid.
Like, that cannot be true. Like, of course, in a scooter under the helmet, we don't need the mask. And we were talking about this. And when we arrived in Taipei, we saw everyone actually all had the mask under the helmet.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to sound American here, but I kind of feel like it takes away the freedom feeling of.
I know what you mean.
Having to wear a mask.
Traps in all that humid and that.
It's the same reason for why I don't like scuba diving. To having to swim with all that like clothes on. To me, it's exact same, not feeling, but it's like exact same concept. Like, I hate scuba diving because I need to wear this like suit. And for me, the mask is the same. It just removes the nice feeling.
If you had to do 2 weeks of quarantine when you got to Sweden, would you do it?
If I could do the quarantine at my parents' house, not in like in a hotel. Like my parents' house, they've lived in quarantine for like, 31 years, There's no one there. It's like 400 meters to the nearest neighbor. Like literally nothing has changed to their lives.
It doesn't matter then, yeah, okay.
Like there's no difference. So if I could go there and like, in Sweden there is no quarantine right now. So I could still go home, hang out with my parents. Even every time I go home, it is still like 6 weeks quarantine. I don't meet anyone. And then my mom goes to like the city to buy groceries like once every 2 weeks,
Lukas doesn't have any friends.
True. Unnecessary comment, but true. And I don't know how it would work like now because me and Yuan are living together. But if I could come here and spend my quarantine here in Taiwan for 2 weeks and then either kick him out or it should be fine because it's the same like household, I would go right away. It's just because I don't really need to leave my apartment. It's just I like my apartment.
Was there a question in there? I forget because I interrupted you.
No, because you're Canadian. No, there was no question. I think this is a good time to move over. And I actually had one more question because earlier today, as we're recording this, R.O.C released a video talking about parenting in Taiwan. Last week, I also talked about parenting here in Taiwan because the Taiwanese government is trying to increase the incentives for the Taiwanese younger people to have more kids because we're running out of kids here in Taiwan and the general population keeps getting older, which of course will lead to all kinds of problems. So I just wanted to check with R.O.C here. Are you planning on having kids in Taiwan?
Not now.
And what about Union?
It depends if I decide to live long term in Taiwan or not. If I have no
You
plans,
mean after the 9 years you've already lived here?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not thinking of leaving, so eventually that would happen, I think. Unless another life plan comes and I go somewhere else. But it's hard to say.
Very diplomatic answer.
I'm not against, for sure. I know some people have very strong opinions about their kids should not have the education in Taiwan. I have a French friend, he really wanted his kids to have their education in France. I don't really believe that it's better in France. Maybe the opposite, actually.
Like, I don't even know if I want kids, like, period. Like, I haven't even thought about where to have them. I don't even know if that shit is a good idea because it looks pretty terrible. But yeah, I think if I did have kids, I wouldn't mind having them educated in Taiwan because like we're foreigners, right? So like in Yuan's case, his kid could potentially speak Chinese, French, English. They don't really have to go to like all these cram schools that Taiwanese kids have to go to learn English. I feel like as foreigners, we don't have to put in that much effort because they will just naturally speak both our languages. So I feel like that takes a large part out of it. I bet you got 9 out of 10, by the way. So if you're thinking about doing this topic, don't, because nobody gives a shit apparently.
Shit. Ooh, I have to brag a little bit now. My latest video is my #1 video ever. It's my best video ever in like by tomorrow.
This guy.
Yeah, the last I looked at it, it had like 250,000 views or something, right?
Oh, that was so yesterday.
It's going so fast.
So yesterday. It's crazy. Yeah.
What was it about? I haven't had the time to watch it yet.
It's about Lithuania. That they support us with vaccine, and then we are giving back a lot of donations. And by we, I take full credit for all the hard work that the Taiwanese people are doing. I don't do anything, but we.
You just make videos about it and profit.
Right now, it's 356,000.
Wow, that beats my 3,000 that I got.
It's
Damn.
5,000 subscribers
Wow.
in 4 days.
Do you feel like now that once you get those like big videos, you're like, wow, I don't have to do anything for like a month now. That was all the views I should have gotten.
No, I watched your live stream, and I could so relate, because you said, like, you know, if I have a shit video, I feel like I need to make another video right away to break the trend. But if I have a good video, I need to make a video right away to like ride the wave. And it's like, yeah, it's just like a constant, no matter what happens, I just need to make a new video right away. But we have to say, like both Yunyun and myself, we both noticed that your videos have actually gone up a level. Like it's obvious that you're putting in more time now into the videos.
Yeah, I've got a little bit more time to like put on a few bells and whistles, but I don't know that
like the level of detail, or like, the things you take care of in the video, like supermarket, or like you were like doing this move and moving to other places. Obviously, you've been thinking a lot before recording, right?
Yeah, I mean, I thought of doing it for a second before. I was like, well, I'll just try it. And then when I started editing it.
Yes, so I actually had a follow-up question, but you guys started talking about all kinds of stuff here. So, regarding you having a kid, maybe, in Taiwan, the Taiwanese government, in order trying to incentivize the younger Taiwanese to have more kids, they have recently announced that they're gonna increase the parental benefits from 60% to 80% of your salary. The next big financial push from the Taiwanese government to incentivize people to have more kids. Knowing this, would this change the percentage or the likelihood of you having a kid here in Taiwan?
Listen, if you were thinking about having kids and finances were one of your worries, like that's why you're not having kids, a 20% increase on a piece of shit salary like mine is not gonna freaking bump the needle at all. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, if I was so poor, and I kind of am, or like I can't afford to have kids, like that 20% is like, I still, you know what I mean? Like, I think it's good. Like maybe it'll make a general increase, but I think on an individual level, I think people who are like teeter-tottering between having a kids or not having a kids, I think they're still just going to decide not to have one if they're, I don't know. I think there's a lot more at play here than just finances. Like, I don't think it's just because it's expensive. That's why that's definitely a large factor. But I think there's something culturally that's happening in a lot of countries in Asia where people are deciding to have kids either later in life or just not at all.
So what would you say then, if you would be the president of Taiwan for 2 minutes? What would you do to try to increase the number of births?
I'd die of a heart attack from stress or something if I had that job for 2 minutes. Like, you know what I mean? What policies would I enact to?
Yeah. What do you think would be a good thing for, like, on a national government level to do to try to get more kids?
I don't know. Like, I think you'd have to run a study on why people are deciding not to have kids and then try to attack that. Like, if it's childcare, like maybe a lot of parents can't get proper, like all the people that I work for are pretty wealthy, but they pay like a ton of money for tuition. Like a normal person's monthly salary is like the tuition at my school. It's insane. So I think for people who are lower income, it's a lot more difficult for them to get good enough childcare. Maybe that's part of it, but yeah, I have no answers to this. I don't really know what's going on. Like the West goes through cultural shifts, right? Like the counterculture theme of the 1960s, and then sort of like people stopped having kids, or people had kids later on, or women started getting educated a lot more, and so they have to wait a little bit longer in life to have kids. Women entered the workforce. Like so many of these things happen that affect the way that we live our lives. And then I feel like there's countries in Asia who are doing the exact same thing, but like now, like later on, they're sort of on a larger scale. Yeah.
I feel in Taiwan it's quite often about money. Like this rule about moving from 60 to 80%, I feel, of course, it's nice, nobody's gonna complain, but it's only for 6 months during the parental leave, right? It's actually very little. You don't plan a kid for the first 6 months only. It should be maybe more subsidies. And I think there is actually, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think there are subsidies as well, yeah.
So those maybe one should be higher. Like if you have a child, it should be like you get X amount of thousands of NT per month. What else? How much time do I have left? 1 minute?
You have 40 seconds.
Maybe
free education.
Yeah, something about all the benefits that benefit directly to kids. Maybe like the cram schools or all those stuff should be free, or there should be something better for the kids. So the
then,
parents
then
don't have...
Proz's salary would be even worse then, from a rich fancy cram school to public one.
Giving them money is like, it's almost like putting a band-aid on the deeper issue here. It's like, okay, why don't they have enough money to have kids? Like, you're telling me people in Taiwan make so little money they can't afford to have kids? It's like, there's something else wrong here than just childcare subsidies. It's like, maybe wages need to be increased. You know what I mean? Like a construction worker in France or Sweden, like they make pretty good money, actually. Like they get by, like if they're unionized, they get taken care of and stuff like that. Like it's actually, at least in Canada, construction workers get paid a lot. Here in Taiwan, like they're like some of the lowest paid labor jobs you can get. And Taiwan doesn't have the population to support a labor force and pay them so little. Yeah, I think there's something deeper than just money. I think, yeah.
It's good. You're on borrowed time, Prozi, but it was a good argument. We will let you have that. Okay, that was actually everything I had to discuss for this week. I think we did pretty okay for having a first podcast-ish episode. We'll see how this goes. Prozi, if we invite you back, would you be able to join? Would you want to join a future episode one day?
For sure.
For sure.
I like these types of things. I like these long-form discussions.
Yeah, well, we'll see how long the video is.
You don't really have to cut anything. Like maybe cut a bit of the intro and then you upload it and then...
The subtitles are gonna kill me. I pay.
You're doing subtitles?
I pay 70 NT per minute for subtitles.
Oh, I didn't know you were doing subtitles. I would have just put it up in English.
That's why you have 3,000 views. I have 356.
This guy. I mean, as a podcast don't need subtitles.
No, the podcast will not have subtitles, but I'm gonna try and see if I can make a YouTube podcast version, just so I get like an extra video out for a week. And since we're doing this already, I'm recording everywhere, so I might as well like make a video out of this too.
Oh, well, maybe I was confused as to what this was. I thought this was like a proper podcast.
No.
You're gonna try to make this like a 20-minute video?
Maybe one day will be a proper podcast, but this is just episode 1.
The plan is basically to make this into a podcast and a YouTube video.
Yes.
Okay, so you're gonna upload this whole thing as a podcast, then you're gonna cut it down.
That's why you have been recording yourself with your iPhone this whole time, Prozi.
I don't know. Do whatever you want, Lucas. Do whatever you want.
I do want to thank you for joining the world premiere of the podcast, hopefully, 外国人介绍台湾. We'll see how this goes. And hopefully, moving forward, we will be able to find some more guests, some more interesting things to talk about. We will see when the next episode of this 外国人介绍 podcast, episode 2, is out.
外国人介绍 podcast?
Did I say that?
Yeah.
Shit. So we will see when episode 2 of 外国人介绍 Taiwan podcast will come out with some new guests here in the studio.